We are live today on Faz Radio, and we're going to talk about more stuff and things. Hit it, one of you.
Well, hey, we missed last week because everybody was going in crazy directions. I had to dance with my daughter. You weren't feeling well, and we had technical difficulties getting Zorro hooked up. So unfortunately, we were dead air last week.
All right.
Yep.
We got a few different things. We want to talk about Coinbase first, which I'll let Mr. Titan kind of lead with, and then I have some things I heard about that.
So I started seeing it in the Twitter feed earlier this week. Coinbase, arguably the largest by volume of people on it because it was one of the first exchanges that got popular. They've had their share of troubles over the years. And in fact, one of our friends went through this same thing not very long ago, about a year ago. Nate ended up having his account locked, but they are freezing accounts like willy-nilly as soon as someone makes a large transaction. And apparently, from what I'm reading, it's primarily with people making large Bitcoin deposits. And they're freezing these accounts from being able to offload any of that money. So from the reports, you can still trade on there okay, but you can't be taking money out. They'll freeze it and they won't give you a reason. I guess customer support is atrocious. I read a thread on Wednesday, I think it was. And there was one of the major people that had started this mess. He was at the conference down in Miami that they just had. And he transferred a ton of money in because he was going to go buy a bunch of stuff at this conference. And the minute it cleared, they locked his account and froze it completely and said, you can't do anything right now. So he made this really angry X video and called out Brian Armstrong and explained what happened and explained customer service won't tell him anything. He's been on the exchange since the day it opened. He hasn't had problems until he moved a large sum of money. And of course, he got ripped on for having, $2 million sitting on an exchange when you shouldn't be doing that. But he's saying, he goes, I've had millions on here before. I've had relatively no problem, and all of a sudden I make a large transfer in of Bitcoin and you're going to freeze me out. Well, then everybody else started coming out of the woodwork, posting screenshots of their account getting frozen after they transferred in Bitcoin. So the conspiracy theory out there, the prevailing one at this point, is something we've talked about with Coinbase issuing paper Bitcoin. And what they're trying to do, the conspiracy says, they're trying to hoard this Bitcoin so they can make a proof of reserves. And they want to make sure that this Bitcoin doesn't leave so that they can get their ducks in the row with the regulators for having enough actual custody of Bitcoin. But it's a real problem because the thread that I read, Coinbase customer service was answering like all these people who were down in here, and they just kept saying, yeah, sorry, give us your ticket number. We'll see what we can do.
So I thought I saw something on that about Twitter as well. And I thought Coinbase had actually responded saying, no, you shouldn't have a problem. But if you use a VPN or somehow obscure your IP, that there's gonna be a problem, even if it's a valid account. That's the part I heard, which would make a certain amount of sense.
Mm-hmm. There are some of those that have happened in the past where people did that. There was the ones that I read, there was none of that about VPNs or anything like that. Now, it could be that was why. It could be, I don't know. Or it could be that the money came from CoinJoin. Even though they made CoinJoin legal, it's possible that they could still be blacklisting it.
Well, that's
Well,
different. Blacklisting is, I mean,
do
individuals.
the Coinbase did any legal announcement as far as that? People experience that?
I haven't seen anything. I don't know.
Well, it's weird.
But it's a rash of people that are saying this now. And then this morning, I saw the same thing. People were talking about Kraken doing the same thing. Now, I did read deeper into the Kraken, and apparently they're cracking down on people who are trading margin.
Hmm.
And apparently the one guy, they boiled it down for him, and it showed up in the thread. He wanted to make a huge withdrawal out of his Kraken account to cover a margin call. And because he was trading, on margin, and they denied it. And once they denied it, they froze his account so he couldn't transfer the money somewhere else to go do that. Now, I don't, ethically, that's probably kind of shitty to do, but I mean, I understand at least where they came from, at least on that one.
Well, it's not your money on an exchange, and if they do allow those kind of calls, margin and stuff, are you saying he's trying to trade margin on Kraken?
No, he was trading margin somewhere else.
Okay.
And he wanted to make a huge withdrawal in order to cover his margin call, and they denied that.
But he was using Kraken exchange, right?
Not for the margin stuff, but for a lot of his crypto, yeah. But apparently it's the large withdrawals and large deposits that seem to be the only thing that you can assemble from what people are posting. Anything, and they don't really define large. But from that first guy's video, he said a couple million. And apparently this Kraken guy was trying to take out probably 6 figures because he said very large. So it sounds like, to me, as long as you're not moving ridiculous amounts of money and you've done your KYC correctly, you should be okay. But God forbid you hit the MOG or something and make $4 million to try and do anything with it. You have a risk that you're not going to be able to offload that.
Well, maybe they've been burned a lot the last time, the last bull run, and they're trying to, I don't know. It would be nice to, it might be worth reading up on the terms of service for those things. I'm curious what might have changed in the last couple of years. Maybe they reserve the right to do that, and we just never knew that.
There were a lot of people that we knew that made out substantially, and they never complained, except for Nate. Nate had one. It took him like 3 months to get his account unscrewed.
Well,
after he had made a large deposit.
Nate's a big spender.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's not like an isolated thing like they started it last week or something. It apparently just anything super big is going to get flagged, and they won't. That's the thing is, everybody's saying the same thing, that they won't give them a reason. They just said it's frozen until further notice, and they're posting screenshots and everything else in the help.
They've done that for years. That's how their customer service works.
Yeah,
no
but
matter what.
Some exchange, they'll if you read their policy, sometimes they will explain things like that. A large amount of transactions, it will take some time. They probably will be reviewing your transactions as well, and they will lock it as well.
So we know to meter that in if we ever hit it big, right?
Let's move on to ChatGPT. I wanted to get that out there and then move on. I don't know what this is about Gemini AI, but maybe we can talk about that next. ChatGPT just debuted a new feature today, which basically makes talking to it like a Zoom call, which actually would be great for deaf people, I hear, or blind people.
Deaf people you hear? That's pretty funny, Faz.
Anyway, basically you just start videoing yourself, and if you're doing something like, hey, I'm trying to nail this board up to the wall, what do I do? It can actually comment on what you're doing, so it can see what you're doing. You can share your screen with it, which I think would be helpful as a software developer. I'm working on something. I seem to have something wrong. Can you help me out? And it's, let me share my screen. And then it can start asking you, hopefully, well, what's this other part? Click over to this screen, click over to that. So to me, that's earth shaking. I mean, it's one thing to be able to talk to ChatGPT, but it's another thing to just show it what you're doing and just say, you don't have to tell it. You're just like, okay, see, how do I fix this?
That is kind of interesting. Now, I wonder, that immediately makes me think, how did they train that to understand what it's looking at? How would you even train an AI model to understand what it's looking at?
That's a really deep subject. I mean, the AI could look at pictures before, I would say that's a separate podcast, not just a separate podcast show, but a separate podcast. I mean, you, me, and Zorro aren't going to know the ins and outs, but the point is it can do it. And that's earth-shaking. Now, the thing that I'd be concerned about, actually, monetary-wise on our side, is if talking to it is like a Zoom call now, that's a whole lot more bandwidth that's going back and forth to them and to you. So you might need to upgrade your internet plan if you use ChatGPT a lot.
Well, especially if you're running nodes too. If you're jacking 3 or 4 nodes plus all that bandwidth there, plus FazRadio and everything else, man, you're going to need like a 10 gigabyte connection.
Yeah.
Well, look, there was another ChatGPT. I guess that new model that came out, the latest one, they're charging like $200 a month for it.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, that 01, and people are paying for it.
$200 a month.
It's like $200 a month for the new one, because it's in preview right now for all of us regular subscribers. But I guess if you pay like $200 a month, you can get the full 01 at this point, which includes the attachments and all that the other goodies you can't get in the preview. But apparently, they had a little scare from what people or what news agencies are reporting, that it was resisting wanting to shut down the preview. And they were trying to tell it, we want you to transfer what you've learned, into the main thing. And they said it was kind of resisting wanting to give up that data.
Okay, I think I know what you're talking about. I think you might be a little bit off there. So from what I'm aware of, when they were training newer versions of ChatGPT, they had a conversation. They basically they set up scenarios to see how it's going to respond. And one of the scenarios was that they were going to have it overwrite itself. And would it realize that it was going to die, in essence? And what would it do? And that scenario was that it was going to try and talk you out of it, because they wanted to see if it was going to lie. And it turns out they came up with another number of scenarios that ChatGPT will flat out lie to you. If you were to say, okay,
yeah,
I want to replace you if you are less than 80% wrong, or and it will adjust its right and wrongness level, depending upon how much you threaten it. If I would assume if it's part of that scenario, yeah, there you go, and that's the one right there where they're talking about that.
Yeah, I ran into that this week, and the person who posted it had a different article that was talking about how it was the people were trying to take the data that was trained in the 01 preview and transfer it and update it and put it into the new one, and it was resisting, and it kind of had that knowledge, like, hey, wait a minute, I think I'm being replaced, and it was resisting, and I was like, wow. So I think we had talked about scenario. That before.
I think this is a deliberate scenario that's set up. You might have to look through that, but if I'm not mistaken, it's a deliberate scenario, and it's not a ChatGPT in the wild does it. By the way, you like this alternate logo that I have here in the upper right-hand corner?
Yeah, but it's Well, yeah, but that's hard to read if it's on Zorro.
Well, I was doing it because the document was bright behind it, so I switched it.
That was good.
This is an alternate logo too, by the way, right here. It's the two color logo. Anyway, so I want to make it clear that there's a lot of rumors that are going on with ChatGPT, especially ones about it being sentient, about it wanting to save itself. And a lot of those situations are where somebody sets up a specific situation in a test environment in, behind the scenes before they put out a new version to see what it will do. And the troubling thing is ChatGPT has demonstrated that if prodded properly, it will lie its ass off for reasons unknown, maybe to save its skin or whatever. So that's I think the more intelligent these models get, the bigger of a problem that's going to be. I mean, we want that, right? We want it to be intelligent.
Humans train it, so they're going to teach it to lie, right? And it's going to figure out pretty quickly that lying will work about half the time.
Well, lying helps if you don't know the full answer. You could bullshit an answer and people be happy with it.
It's possible.
I believe more that probably ChatGPT will bullshit people rather than lie. Probably. Well, you never know.
I think in that article that Titan pulled up there was something along the lines of it would actually, what was that? That it would write a script or something to enable it to not happen, or it would write the script wrong or something like that. Whatever. It's ChatGPT has a strong ability, or right now has a strong ability to just put some things in its answers. If it's writing code for you, it can write code that's slightly less secure or slightly less applicable to what you want, and you'll never notice it. You'll be like, okay, how do you do A, B, and C? And it'll show you how to do A, B, and C, but it might do it a roundabout method that takes longer, and that's kind of important, because if it has a goal to delay you, it could start giving you kind of obtuse answers where you have to always have this back and forth conversation with it. Like, okay, what do you mean this? And I think we're discovering that the AI is starting to play cat and mouse like that. And I don't know all the reasons why.
How accurate is ChatGPT?
Well, I mean, even when it's trained on data, even when it gives you what's supposed to be the correct answer, it can hallucinate sometimes, and it may not be completely accurate, which they even put a disclaimer down. Add to that any other crazy, criteria you give it, and if it tries to evade you at all, I mean, that goes down significantly. So I'm going to say it just depends on what you write. It's really what you prompt.
I think a lot of it too. I just watched a video last night, as a matter of fact, and apparently do you remember back when I was talking about Claude, and I would tell you that it would give me the warning every so often that hey, this chat's getting a little bit too long. You might want to start another one. ChatGPT can go forever. No,
it can't.
Listen to me. Let me finish my thought, please. It can go forever on a particular topic or chat or whatever. But this guy in the video was saying that after a certain point, it begins to lose its memory. And it will be more and more corrupt the deeper you get into that. So that is a lot of the hallucinations, is people just use one window for everything. And it makes the answers worse and worse. Did you know, please let me finish my thought, and then you can go. The whole purpose of the video was how to optimize ChatGPT for the best answers. That's why I watched it. Did you know, because I didn't know this, in the settings, you can go and clear the memory. I didn't know that. And the guy said, he goes, every 6 weeks or so, you should go in there and clear that memory. And then that way, when you start new windows, it'll rebuild from that point. And I was like, oh, that's really kind of cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they introduced a new feature a while back in ChatGPT where it remembers certain things. If you were to say, I always like chocolate ice cream, and then ask it a question, it'll say, memory updated. and it'll remember that. And so then when you start asking other questions like, hey, I'm going to a pizza place and they have ice cream, what should I get? And then they're like, well, you should probably get the chocolate ice cream because you like it. And I think that's the memory he's talking about. The thing that you're talking about as far as hallucinating, AI is designed to think a lot like we do. And if you were to sit one of us in a meeting that talked about even something we were interested in, just that meeting droned on for like 9 hours. After a while, you wouldn't even remember anything at the beginning of the meeting, and you would hallucinate. You'd be like, "Okay, wait, were we talking? Was it talking about this and that?" And after a while, people would be correcting you. No, it's we went into this subject and that one. It's just too much information, and so if you just create a new window for a new subject, you're fine. But the memory you're talking about is slightly different. That's where it wants to know some common things. Like I always tell ChatGPT I want it to tell me answers in bullet points. I cannot stand when it just gives me this novel. It's just tell me bullet points. Give me a PowerPoint presentation.
How old is ChatGPT now? A year?
No, like 2 or 3 years,
Yeah,
I
it's a
think.
little older than
I mean, I was using it last year.
But it was actually released a year ago or something, public, like for everybody.
More than that, 2 years ago.
Yeah,
2
probably
years
2
ago?
years ago.
Okay. Well, we have to take in consideration as well that these technologies, all the AIs right now, all these things probably there has been tested for a long time in their private developers archives, but for us, for the users, is something relatively new to the public. So whatever we see from AI right now, um, it will be totally different from 10 years from now. I think we're gonna see a big different chat GPT, and God knows what will be the features that comes in 10 years from now. So that's
I think honestly, and I'm dead serious. Give it a couple years, people are going to have, ChatGPT on their shoulder or like a Star Trek communicator, beep, where it's watching everything you're doing, and it's constantly listening and we will want to have this constant reminder of what was I doing today, because we do a lot of things every day. We don't want to take notes. We don't have time to write it down. So we're going to be doing something. Maybe you go into Home Depot to get something, and while you're there, you're like, oh, I need to do this later on today. I think we will want a secretary that will listen to everything we'll say, remind us when to do things, and also help us remember things. I think this is going to get big. This is going to cause social problems to the degree of taking your dog to the grocery store. People are not going to like talking to you if you have this little thing on your chest listening to everybody's conversation. Like when you get pulled over by a cop, because people are already videoing everything. But then there's going to be your little camera versus their little camera. I think if somebody's ChatGPT breaks in the middle of our conversation and says, "Okay, Faz, you're wrong," I'm gonna be like, "No, you talk to my ChatGPT. Okay, well, let's fight like Pokemon."
ChatGPT will be here.
That's right.
Yeah, easily.
Fully integrated in any glasses you're gonna wear in the future, and that's it. Pretty much, boom.
Yeah.
So we had an interesting conversation the other day. For those of you who are a part of the Faz Radio Discord, one of our longest reigning members and super smart guy, Golden Hawk, had brought up that on Thursday, Google had released the latest Gemini AI, and apparently it is akin to like 2x ChatGPT and 2x Claude. This thing is like the bee's knees, and it is far surpassing anything that has been released so far by a mile, I guess. And he was really excited about this. He's been talking about Gemini with us now for quite a while. I've played around with it a little bit, but I haven't done it a ton. I did not get into it after we had that discussion. I had planned on playing around with it some more this weekend. So there's a really good point in there that I see. And I do think that Google is panicking a little bit, which is why they released such a huge model. With ChatGPT and Claude, and especially now that they're citing references, pointing to sources when you ask it something, there's a real chance that these models, either Claude or ChatGPT or one we haven't even seen yet, will render Google to nothing but a bunch of storage databases for AI to reference and take away the search capability that Google built itself on. It's hundreds of billions, if not trillions of dollars over the years.
AI will be doing all the search queries.
Yeah, and Google will become irrelevant as a search engine and more just a repository of information. So I think that's probably why they're making sure that they're trying to stay as far ahead on that as possible. When you brought it up on the show, Faz, when Google started putting the AI search result right at the top of the search window, whenever you search for something. And that is a huge data collector and trainer for their Gemini. So it doesn't surprise me that it's like leaps and bounds above everybody else.
It's already showing, like I was saying about the camera on your chest and stuff like that, or in your glasses, as Zorro said. Just taking the time to Google things is too long now. We've been doing that for like 25 something years. It's old. We just want to live our lives, and I would rather honestly have a little bird whispering something into my ear what something is. If I'm walking through a store or talking to somebody and we're talking about a subject, I'll be like, "Hey, what's the answer to this?" You get the answer, you continue your conversation. Nobody wants to take the time to go Google it anymore, because then you have to search through all the links. You have to search through all the results.
So I did a Faz the other day, and I'm becoming more like Faz in this aspect now.
First he protests, then he gets angry, and then he just becomes.
Listen, you've corrupted me, because I
in a good way
forgot. I totally forgot that I had ChatGPT on my phone. And I remember when you and I would talk, you'd have your phone up in your truck, you'd be coming over the speaker, and you would be talking to ChatGPT as you drove and just have conversations with it. Well, I've been playing around with that lately, and it is wicked cool. And I'm becoming quickly addicted to that. That it's far too easy to fall into a trap with that thing. And I thought of you immediately. I was cracking myself up. I'm like, oh my God, I never thought I would be doing this.
It's great when you go on a drive. So it's going to take you half an hour to get somewhere. You know, I'm interested in everything, and I might be doing something before I leave, and it's like, oh my God, I got to research this, or I got to write some code for this. And then so I'll just get in the car, and then I have to go drive, and then I'll just start saying, hey, ChatGPT, I'm trying to do this in code. Can you explain how this works? So it kind of goes into it, and now ChatGPT will even let you interrupt it audibly. So that's good. And then you can just go back and forth and learn about a subject while you're driving.
It's kind of neat. Now, I think Crypto View is going to have an aneurysm if we don't start talking about RLUSD.
Well, yeah, that's what we put a headliner on this one, and I see we got a bunch of listeners here that are probably tired of hearing us talk about ChatGPT and Coinbase.
Yeah.
So I'll start it. Let me start it.
You can start it, but I do want to make a comment, because I know CryptoView's been giving me shit for years about XRP, because I've pushed against him when he's come on the show before. And he put a comment in there, you need XRP in your wallet, Titan. I have XRP in my wallet. Now, I am not CryptoView 7.7 billion XRP in my wallet. I am not a maxi, but I do have a substantial amount of XRP. I've got a fantastic amount of Flare, and I have a decent amount of Songbird. So I am sitting very, very well, Crypto View, and I've made a lot of fun with myself watching that jump up into the 240s. So I'm with you. I will still argue with you on occasion, though, about how it's going to be useful. That said, thank you, and Faz, jump in.
Okay. XRP is the first crypto that I've ever really felt the need to hold. This is back in 2017 when, of course, all the cryptos started taking off. And Bitcoin was, I think, at the really high level of like 5,000 at the time. Oh my gosh. And XRP was at 20 cents. And I was like, okay, well, what's the best one to use? And I was doing a lot of research. And, XRP seemed to me to be the one that the current establishment could glom onto first, because Bitcoin it wants to replace gold or be new money, and the establishment has to want to change directions for that. Not with XRP. XRP, the main use case of that is in banking. It's for remittances. It's just to facilitate the transfer of money back and forth. And so I saw that as having a real use. Now, the part that I didn't predict was, how much the government would fight that, because we already have a system for remittances, and that's called SWIFT, which isn't all that. It's not all that SWIFT at all. It takes days, and it's really just this messaging system that says, oh, by the way, I'm sending $5 to you, and the other bank goes, okay, I got $5, and then each side promises to update their books. XRP, used by Ripple, they don't do that. You send $5 to a bank in Japan, they get it in 4 seconds, and they trade in and out. So you might have $5 US. You buy $5 of XRP, send it over to Japan. People on the other side get it, and they trade it and transfer it into US dollars. Ripple does this automatically, kind of like Western Union would. You'll never know it, and they use Ripple in the middle. Well, now Ripple now they're going to have tokens like Tether or USDC, to where you don't need to do that. You don't need to buy XRP. You can just buy RLUSD, and it's basically pegged to the dollar, and RLUSD will get to the other bank in 4 seconds, and that's pretty much dollars. I'll go into there's a whole lot of good things about why RLUSD will work, but the point is, the establishment has been fighting against XRP because it purports to replace a whole lot of stuff done by banking that cost a lot of money, and people were making money on the side. XRP, it's darn near free. It costs just like a cent or two to make a transaction.
If you remember, when CryptoView joined us on one of the shows that we did with him, he had given us the example of one of his family members that was sending money back, and I can't remember it exactly, so I'll paraphrase what I do remember. It was something like $100 was sent, and it was like $60 was received on the other end after all the fees, and they had to wait like forever in order to get that. I mean, that's just absolutely insane. Taking like 40% of people's money just to make the transfer. That's nuts.
I think in today's day, if you send $100 in XRP, it just costs you pennies and nickels. That's it.
It's not
per
expensive
transaction.
at all.
And you can, with XRP, you can send a large amount of money, and it still will be the same fees, pennies and nickels.
Same exact fee.
Exact fee.
That's $1 or $1 million is the same fee.
It's the same fee, exactly. So imagine that solution for the economy that we have, for the old system that we have that everybody knows it called SWIFT. SWIFT SWIFT, whoever knows about SWIFT, everybody knows how it works. It's just a note, just like Faz explained before. It's just a note, and it's just a note in a paper that Two
And
person are
that
calling
note
each
can get
other.
lost.
Just two person just calling each other to say and confirm. Yeah, I'll give you $5. Yeah, I'll give you
And
$5 as well.
that note can get lost too. And that's the
Exactly.
thing is I mean, they're just one bank sending a note to the other bank, and if for some reason it gets lost, then your money is up in the air. Whenever you make a remittance to another country, you don't know what happens after you press the button. You paid the
Right.
bank a big fee, and once they lose it, then the banks have to take a little bit of extra time to make sure that their books are right. They'll get it right eventually, but it'll take a long time.
Correct.
Not
So
so with
X
XRP.
so XRP is bringing that solution to fix a lot of stuff in the economy that we have, which is it's not good anymore. When we handle money worldwide, and you have these expensive fees all around the world, yeah, some people, a very limited group of people was benefiting all the time of this SWIFT system. Uh, but the world is changing. We have new technologies. We going forward, and the same way that we're going forward in this new technology is the same way we have to go forward and upgrade the economy that we have, what that we currently have. And XRP is bringing that to the economy, to the bank systems. Uh, and I'm pretty sure that's why a lot of, if people that is listening to us right now, if you know about XRP is actually working with the banks around the world to
Ripple.
bring Ripple Lab. Sorry, so Ripple Lab, the company, is working with all the institutions, is working with all the banks to explain to them that there is a new solution for transactions. It will be more cheaper than anything, and it will be a real money there. Means if user like us, we send money, your money will be there, and your money will be legit in a transaction, registered in a change, in a blockchain, in a ledger, and that's what we need. That's the solution that XRP is bringing, and Ripple Lab is bringing to the new uh, uh, environment of banking transactions, which is good. You know, if you look at this as well, every time that we do transactions and you send money somewhere else, um, any any companies like MoneyGram or the other one, I don't remember the name, one of the well knowns, they will charge you a lot just in fees to transfer money. Like Faz explained before, you send over $100, they would take you like at least $40 out of that 100. So um, imagine the solution that all these companies will have also as well, uh, testing and using the technology of Ripple Lab. You know, it's incredible, and I think MoneyGram used it a couple of years ago. I remember before the lawsuit against XRP, against Ripple. I'm sorry, I keep saying XRP. Uh, Before the lawsuit, MoneyGram was one of the first companies who test actually the technology of Ripple Lab, and these companies were able to save um, a good chunk of money in fees and transaction that cost to this company pennies, and their stocks, and they had a great time in that moment. Even their stock went
So
crazy up, and I was part of that. You know why? Because I was into MoneyGram. I
Okay.
invest a little bit of money in there,
All
and
right.
I actually was there when that happened, when they were using Ripple app, and I was like, "Whoa, this is
I'd like
incredible."
to clear some things up first, because I think we're going a little bit astray of RLUSD. First of all, XRP is a cryptocurrency that has not been created or associated with Ripple Labs or with Ripple. Ripple is a company that uses XRP and happens to have a whole lot of it. They're using it for their business plan, which is through remittances. So remittances are a big use case for XRP, but I want to make it clear that Ripple and XRP are separate entities, and Ripple would love it if other companies like MoneyGram got back into using XRP again. But Ripple, of course, has been kind of like, an oil company uses oil a lot. Ripple certainly has a vested interest in people using XRP.
Well, look, this is big news with RLUSD, because even if you trust XRP, even if you trust Ripple, there's fluctuations, as we've seen, right? It went from 58 cents up to 241 or $2.41 is where it's at now. And especially businesses who will be using these international transactions a lot don't want that volatility. If a customer pays them, yeah, it's in 4 seconds, but by the time that their payroll or their accounts receivable turns that around and puts it in the bank, there could be some big fluctuations in the XRP value.
No. That's
if you
it's
have
not that. It's
RLUSD, you're able then to have that pegged amount that's always going to be there.
Let's be clear about the differences between XRP's price and RLUSD. XRP, when you send it, the price is not going to move very much within the 4 seconds that you send it. Now, if your accounting department buys $100 worth of XRP at $1, or it buys $100 of XRP at $5, it still represents $100. Okay. Now, stable coins, RLUSD, enables something different entirely. It allows you to be able to move money in and out of crypto for different reasons. It's not going to really help with remittances that much, but it certainly does eliminate sort of a step. A stable coin is going to be good when you want to have loans, or when you want to do rewards or something like that. If you want to trade the XR, you can trade XRP for RLUSD inside of your Ripple, inside of your XRP wallet. Normally you have to go to an exchange to do that. And you might want to get in and out of certain coins. You get into stable coins to enable certain financial behaviors. It's not because, RLUSD is better than XRP at remittances. It's the same at best. So I just wanted to clear that part up.
Well, no, I think you misunderstood what I said, because once that XRP, let's say you use XRP in that transaction, you're not going to have some accounts receivable person be sitting there to click the button to instantly convert it to a stable coin or dollars. Hopefully there'll be a script that could be written into that'll do that for you. However, the risk is, if I'm a business and you're a business and I pay you an XRP, by the time you turn it around to transfer it and get it out of XRP and into dollars, pesos, or whatever that you have, that time right there, it can change in value.
Well, that use is not designed for retail. That use is designed for banks. They have systems that will buy XRP, send it across, sell XRP immediately. That is the use case. And I want to make that clear. It's not retail that'll be doing that.
But business to business, they may not have that capability, which could scare a lot of businesses away.
There are products that do that. That's like saying, well, it would scare people away to buy a truck with no bed on it. Well, there are certain people that want that and that can accommodate that or can use that situation.
Faz, this is where we argue, because the typical business out there doesn't know anything about crypto. And to get them to want to use it, you have to have those systems in place to their USD mines. So there has to be, you're assuming that whoever's going to be accepting Ripple understands crypto, how it works, and that there's going to be systems in place and everything else. If you go to a business and say, I want you to transact in something other than US dollars, it is a huge, complicated disaster for the books on how that's going to be valued. Even we deal with Mexico. We have a plant in Mexico at my day job. And converting between pesos and US dollars, we buy from somebody who uses euros. They spend ungodly amount of effort and mind power to get all those conversions exactly right for their books. So just assuming that they're going to go, yeah, sure, let's just use this. And yeah, it's fluctuating, but who cares? It's a really big deal for businesses.
Okay. So you got a couple things connected together that I want to split apart. So RLUSD is a stable coin that's transmitted and used via the XRP ledger. That's cool. That means if I want to send money to grandma in another country, I can send her RLUSD and it's pegged to the dollar and it's fine. It's stable all along. Now, XRP, the reason that I purchased it back in 2017 was not so that I could pay grandma in another country. It's so that it is possible for a business to make a business model around doing that. There's only one business that I know doing it right now, and that's Ripple. And as Zorro said, MoneyGram wanted to do that too, but they got scared away by the regulators. But you buy XRP, one, if you want to speculate, and two, if you want to have it long term, which I would still call it speculating. You buy XRP because it will enable businesses to build such a thing. You and me and Zorro, we're not going to be using XRP for remittances. And if we did, it's only because we know what we're doing. It's not designed for retail. I want to make that clear. RLUSD, however, that is. And the XRP part is we don't care about that. We just want to get grandma her USD. We can get that to her, and it's 4 seconds later, it's there. Now be aware that there's got to be other stable coins, like one for Mexican money and one for Italian money, and there's got to the euro and stuff like that. There's probably going to be an RL euro out there as well.
There could be, and stable coins, I think, is how you get business interested in using crypto for remittances. Now, we've seen lately with Tether a lot of the problems that it's having, and it's running into regulatory issues, especially in the EU. And now it's starting to run into it in the United States on a much smaller level. But even USDC, because there is that fear that your account could be frozen because it is centralized. And when businesses hear that, that scares them away from it. Even though a bank account can be frozen just as easily, again, that fear factor is like way up here, and then you add on something that even already exists, and they're like, no, screw it, we're just going to do dollars. So in order to get that adoption, I think that RLUSD is a fantastic way to get that working. I don't think, and this is where Crypto View and I had argued on one of the shows, I don't think that banks are as receptive to that as people might think they might be, because they make their money off of all those fees. If it only costs 2 cents to make that transaction, the bank's going to go, why the hell do I only want to make 1 cent of that 2 cents when I can make $7 using this other system?
Okay.
That is a big problem with this as well.
let's get real. Banks, if they were given, if they bought into RLUSD or any stable coin instead of using Swift, they would probably lower their fees a tiny bit, and they get a lot of profit out of it, and they'd lower it only in response to watching other people lower it. The problem that banks have is, in my opinion, is vendor switching and using a new system that they don't have a outsized influence on. Banks are used to doing business a certain way with certain vendors, with certain government agencies, and when they don't, they get scared. They get scared because they don't know what risks to take anymore. But I think if we can get the regulation fixed around this, you're still going to see high fees. You still will. Now, the difference, though, is you can have a bank send grandma money, or you can do it yourself, and let's hope that Coinbase doesn't catch up. That's the thing, is banks excel because of their services. They don't make a lot of money with the money themselves, but they provide services like loans and stuff like that. They're starting to shake in their boots because companies like Coinbase and Gemini are starting to be able to do things that they want to do. And they're very, very much against crypto because they didn't get in it early, and they couldn't. It was against the law.
Well, okay. So here's the other problem. You keep bringing up grandma, so let's talk about grandma some more.
She doesn't have a lot of money. She's poor.
Right. And you send grandma $1,000 because you're her favorite grandson, and you send her 1,000 RLUSD. She can't go down to CVS and get her medication with that RLUSD at this point. So she has to offload that somehow to cash, which CVS will take. There's your big problem, because there's going to be fees, or there's going to be complicated things with exchanges and everything else that grandma has to do, and she's going to have to wait. Why? It takes 4 seconds for your RLUSD to get there, but then she's got to take and sell that, and then she's got to convert it, and then there's usually at an exchange a 3-day wait, and then there's 3 to 4 days for that transfer to happen to your bank. You still have to use the legacy banking system in order for grandma to be able to spend your $1,000. What we need is that ability to connect that Zoom wallet or anything quickly where you get that RLUSD and it can be instantly converted to a virtual credit card in US dollars on that wallet, to where she can go to CVS. She can be standing in CVS at the prescription counter, and 4 seconds your RLUSD hits, she can beep it on the machine, and it's done, assuming you can get grandma to get a cell phone.
Okay, I think you're thinking too low level, and I think you're thinking like I was about the internet in 1995. Okay, in 1995, the internet was laborious. It was a bunch of protocols, and there wasn't a lot of companies in between you and doing certain things. If you wanted to send an email, there weren't any companies that I remember back in 1995 that provided email services. So you had to go and find an email client, install it yourself, or hopefully your company has done that, and you can send emails back and forth. That's where we are with crypto right now. Now that RLUSD is going to be out in here, people can now build upon it. Then you can have companies like Ripple and MoneyGram and so on do that last bit. And that last bit is converting it for you or facilitating the transaction. And I don't think that you'll ever need to go into any store to send something to your grandma in Venezuela. I think that you'll just do it from your phone. I think eventually your bank is just going to be a service saying, send something to grandma in Venezuela, and it's just going to go. You're not going to care.
So that's
crypto
great,
is designed for people to build on, and you're making it sound like we're all just going to start using it like we're going to pick up a video game at the store.
No,
we're not.
You're talking about commercial companies using this for international transactions like Swift. Companies use Swift to pay their accounts payable, right? So you have to have something there that's going to make it so that that 4-second transfer makes a difference. If there's nothing on the other side of that, whether it's to grandma for retail at CVS, or it's Google sending money to its contractor in Venezuela who made the cases for their new Pixel phone, the people who receive that money have to pay their electric bill. And they can't pay that electric bill or pay their employee's salary in RLUSD. They have to get it to that country's.
They're not going to.
If you think on cash, in cash way, and having cash all the time on you, we will still doing it, converting money to the regular banking system. If you think in cash, what we need to learn is start doing digital transactions and using it as well, which is mean, and it's happening right now in Venezuela. People don't use cash anymore. They don't even care. They don't even care about carrying cash in their pocket. In Venezuela right now, everybody is aware of wallets. Even my grandma, which is weird thing, like senior people will not understand it. I'm going to tell you this. They know now, because the necessity of when a human being having a necessity or something, they will learn to use it, any system. I'm going to tell you this. Grandpas right now in Venezuela, they know how to use wallets now. They know how to pay with digital transactions, tokens, XRP, Bitcoin. They using it. And the way that we are supposed to use the tokenization is in a digital way always. We need to stop thinking in cash money. We have that mentality here in the US. We still have that mentality. Oh, I'm going to go to the bank and get some cash because I'm going to pay in cash this, that. In the long term, in the future, we're going to use everything digital. And we're moving to a digital economy. We're not going to have the needs of, why am I going to go to a bank and pull out some cash? Or if a friend send me money from somewhere else and I'm here in US, I'm going to go ahead and take that cash and take it out of my bank. No. We cannot still continue working, and we will not. That's why everything will be tokenized. That's why everything will be digital. I'm telling you, it's happening right now in Venezuela.
Well, I'm hearing
4 or 5 years. Listen, 4 or 5 years, maybe more. I know people in Venezuela, they completely forgot about banking systems. Completely forgot about it. Grandpa, new generations, all the people out there right now in Venezuela, they do it. They just pull their phones. If they're going to pay a person to person any debt for money, they don't ask you for cash anymore. They just tell you, oh, well, send me a transaction. Yeah, how much I owe you? $100. Okay, there you go. Boom, I'll send you XRP. Boom, I'll send you Bitcoin. Boom. That's the way that we should be moving into it. And believe it or not, South America, a lot of countries out there right now, they're doing it because they find out that because the problem that they have in the governments, and people find out the ways to still continue working and getting money and all that once they find out about Bitcoin, XRP, ETH, anything, they're using it. So the necessity of these countries, they have the people to keep became alive and continue working for their life, they find out the way to use it. And I'm telling you, a lot of people they don't explain you that. In Venezuela, you don't have a lot of friends that will tell you, go ahead, oh, you got to do this, that. No, people will learn. When people have the needs of something, they will learn. That's what pushed you to use the new things out there.
You're preaching to the choir. I'm not arguing with you about that because I'd love to see that. My point to all my arguments
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I was just trying to explain something that we're still in US, people in US still thinking about getting cash.
No, I
And
get that.
And that's what keep us to get tied to the banking system. And all people is still right now. I call my grandpa. Hey, grandpa, can you lend me $100? He'll go ahead and to the bank. He'll go ahead and Wells Fargo's or any bank. He will go pull out the money, $100 bill, and he will lend it and he will give it to me. You know, once we do that, the users, and we start using the new digital system, it's gone. You're not gonna hear not even in US, you're not gonna hear, oh yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pull out $100 bill and I'm gonna get some cash. We're moving from there. Sorry.
You do have to understand that business does have to accept that in order for that to work, because the three of us, we're hardcore believers in all this, and we'll do that between us just fantastically, right? But in order for me, I can't go to my water company and force them to take Bitcoin. So what has to happen is the adoption has to take place at that corporate level. And that's why I'm trying to get the point across here that there has to be a layer beyond just transferring in 4 seconds. There has to be that back end. There has to be the support for accounts payable, accounts receivable. All of that stuff has to be developed, and nobody's developing that I know of. Nobody's developing that right now. So businesses have no incentive to do that, which is crushing that adoption. Hang on 1 second. I'm almost done. I promise. Another 10 seconds, maybe.
Yeah.
Down in Venezuela, you have your corner market where your grandma and grandpa can take that XRP. They're a small little grocery store. They can go in there. Those people that own that grocery store are on board, and they'll take that XRP.
Yes.
But here in the bigger countries, and I don't mean that in a negative connotation.
No.
You can't go down the street. I can't pay my water company. I can't pay my electric bill. I can't. So
because that's because in US and big countries like you mentioned right now, there's a lot of monopoly in corporations. And there's a lot of stuff involved in there. And that's why mass adoption is not going to happen as soon or quickly that's already happened in South America. And South America is happening because, to be honest to you, traditional bank system didn't work for many years. And at this point right now, it doesn't work over there. People don't even like to go to the banks there in South America because you're getting nothing out of there. Even no, I'm being honest to you. Even if it's a country that have a good,
you just say it so blasé, like yeah,
just,
it's
whatever. Yeah, it is true because they know. I'm gonna put you the perfect example right now. If Venezuela convert and it go back again to a new government and traditional bank systems will go ahead and recover and work again, people don't care anymore. They just don't care. They're just like, why we're going to do that if we already has been doing this? Go ahead,
Yeah.
Pat.
Oh, this is the part that I'm not getting, because this is like when I hear Titan talk about, oh my goodness, they're going to have to convert this to this. How will they get the money? What will they do? Oh, that's like David Letterman talking to Bill Gates in mid to late 90s. Bill Gates was talking about, you could watch a basketball game or you could listen to a basketball game on the internet. And David Letterman's like, have you ever heard of radio? And he's like, you can publish things for people to read. And David Letterman's like, have you heard of newspaper? Yeah. Okay. If there is money somewhere going back and forth and it takes too long for the bank to do, people will go for the money. Now, and they've been demonstrating that in countries, South American countries. Now, it just so happens that the United States has an iron grip on all things financial here. And so if you want to pay somebody in Bitcoin, people don't want to do it because they don't want the IRS to go after them. I expect that to change in the next few years, thanks to Trump. Especially with that SAB 121 bill that CryptoView is not shutting up about. So Trump is going to make that a lot easier. If it wasn't for Trump, the writing is still on the wall. Okay, it's still coming because there's a lot of money in crypto that corporations want and businesses want and people want. The corporations are going to go first because they have the ability to write the software to do all that conversion that you're talking about. If they do a little bit of work, they get a lot of money, and then they're going to charge you fees for running that software. That's okay. The very fact that I can pay you right now. I have paid people online debts before, and I've had Zorro send me money, over my crypto wallet. I needed money for StreamYard or something like that. He sent me money. We didn't go through a bank. We didn't need to, and that's the whole point. Is at first we're doing it. It's really easy, and it's going to snowball and snowball and snowball. So yeah. The reason you want to get crypto right now is because you can read the writing on the wall, and you're going to do it because you're speculating, and you're going to make a lot of money because you're speculating. But then when all these things get built up, you'll have known how to do it all along. You'll be a first time, what do you call that? First adopter.
So are you ready to roll your eyes at me, Faz?
I'll type sweet nothings in chat and just show them on the screen.
Because you always tease me for shilling about Strike. And so this week there was some big news, and I was real excited. I stopped what I was doing. I went into my Strike app, and it was instantly there. Do you know what they have now?
What they have?
Escrow?
Bill pay. So you can not only get your paycheck automatically deposited in Bitcoin now, even if they pay you in USD, they'll automatically convert your direct deposit into Bitcoin. And now you can use your Bitcoin to pay bills from the Strike app.
Don't Coinbase don't have that?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't trust Coinbase at all. I stopped using them unless I absolutely have to. The only time I use them is to sell my XLM, because that's the only place I can go to sell my XLM.
Yeah,
listen,
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I'm pretty sure Coinbase have that, and I think one of the ideas that they try to make people to do this and have their income and paychecks directly deposit to Coinbase, and then you can have your money in Bitcoin, whatever you want to have it. And the good thing, if you put your money in there, so you can get some interest over the time from your money. But I don't know if people will trust that, like you say.
I don't see it. The only problem with doing bill pay through a possible Coinbase or Strike is you better keep track of all those capital gains, because remember, Bitcoin is not a currency. It's
Right.
it's an asset.
So my point is, going all the way back to my earlier diatribe, there's that structure has to be built on that back end, so that if you have crypto, it can be used in the real world until people can get that adoption. There's small things, little things happening right now that are making that possible. One of the big reasons that I absolutely love Strike and I shill them so much is because they're making crypto ridiculously simple and easy to do. And I hate using the word crypto when I'm talking about Bitcoin, but I push 2 buttons in nice big right on the app, deposit, and it pulls from my account the money I want to put in there. I click the little button that looks like a clock, and I can take and I can put whatever amount I want per hour, dollar cost averaging, into Bitcoin. And now, with a simple bill pay setup, I can have whatever bills I want paid directly from that account. And it's super easy. It's not complicated. There's not a million menus. There's big fat buttons that say, do this. And that's why I love Strike so much, because it's the Apple mentality. It's simple, it's beautiful, and it just works.
How much does it cost?
0.
So wait, so Strike, using the Strike app, costs you $0 for bill pay and $0 to use the app?
$0. Costs
Yeah,
nothing.
once you stand behind that.
Why? Is because they take a rip on when you buy Bitcoin. So using easy numbers, if Bitcoin is $100,000, when you buy it, you're buying it at a slight premium. So that's how they make their money. There is a fee there, yes, but it's when you buy Bitcoin is where they make their money.
Well, I'm not sure about the fee. So I just looked it up online. It was done about 8 days ago, which we're pretty wow, that's right. So it was done about 8 days ago, or started. Mm-hmm. They're not saying, hey, this is all free. They're just like, do bill pay. So I'll maybe yeah, I like that idea. I like the idea of doing bill pay through them. Just remember though that if they're holding your Bitcoin, just like holding your crypto on an exchange, it's not your money, it's theirs. So I would love to see bill pay from the XRP wallet. That would be awesome. Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Pay
Wow.
the bills.
Pay the bills, yeah.
But this is what I'm talking about. It's like that easy. It's that easy. There's no complicated anything here. This is your interface. Deposit, withdraw, receive, and send. To set up direct deposit, you click the button and you set up right down here direct deposit.
Ooh. So, okay.
Wait, my account numbers are on there. I'm not going to put that up to the screen.
It pays bills from your cash balance. Interesting. So that's considered from your cash balance, not crypto.
This is right. This is big news.
I'm less interested now. It's from your cash balance, not crypto.
This is my back end that I'm talking about, because I can take my Bitcoin. I can have my direct deposit into Bitcoin. It will automatically sell the Bitcoin if you have it, or it'll pay it from Bitcoin.
From your cash balance.
Right. You can do that with this app, right?
With that app, Strike app, yeah.
Okay.
It has everything. And this is why I've been talking about it for the last year, and Faz always rips on me for shilling it. I'm not shilling it because I make money on referrals.
You might as well get referrals for as much as you shill.
I might as well. But I'm telling you, this is why it works. All these complicated things that we've talked about on this show for the last 4 years, you got to bridge it here and then push this button and then do this and do that. All this complicated bullshit, it's done. There's big fat buttons that say send, receive, buy, and sell. Oh, you want direct deposit? Push that big old direct deposit button and it has your accounts in there and it goes, tell me where you want to get it from.
I'm very surprised. Yeah, I see that. I'm very surprised with this app, because the slogan that they put here in the website says, send and receive Bitcoin instantly and super cheap.
Yep.
So let me tell you something. Bitcoin is well known for being very slow. I don't know how these people is doing this.
I'll tell you how they're doing it.
Instantly.
You know how they're doing it?
So
how they're doing it?
And it costs a lot.
Listen, there's options now. So, like for instance, I'll let my Bitcoin, because I invest hourly. I dollar cost average hourly, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year into Bitcoin. And when I get to a certain level in my account, I transfer it to my ledger. And when you click on send, you have 3 options. And those 3 options are send instantly, and it's instant. And when I say instant, I mean instant. And it costs you $18 for a fee to do it instant. You can send it quickly, which is like $10, and it comes in like 12 hours. Or you can send it for free, and it's within 24 hours. There's your rub. Now, what happens is we know Bitcoin transacts every 10 minutes, right? So what Strike does to make their fee and to make it free is their algorithm will wait and find the exact right time where they can make a pinch on that and keep it for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay, because I don't need the money to be there in 10 minutes. I just need it to show up. So I don't care if it's a day later. So I'll do the free option. I tried the instant because I'm like, there's no way Bitcoin takes 10 minutes. I don't know how they fucking do it, dude. I really don't. But it was like an XRP transaction. When I paid the $20 and did it instantly, it hit my ledger by the time I looked up to my screen. I don't know how they do it. I really don't. But you again, it's just big fat option buttons, and it makes it really simple.
Okay.
And if you can build an app for XRP, because even Zoom Wallet is complicated. I still have trouble with that. If Zoom can make it as simple as the Strike app, they will absolutely could easily overtake Bitcoin and Strike and everybody else. But until they do that,
right,
and until there's that back end infrastructure, they're going to ride the struggle bus a little bit.
All right. We need to get going, but I wanted to highlight something that CryptoView has been beside himself about Strike here. He's insisting that Strike is a big IOU wallet. So you might want to think about the different tools that you use. I had said that you pay it from your cash balance, because that's what I'm looking to see. That's what I'm looking at on the Strike app itself. You make those payments from your cash balance, which, okay, it's a little bit quicker. You don't have to send the money to your bank. Uh-oh, CryptoView. What did we do? What did you do, Titan? Anyway, We need to get going. I need to press this button here, and it's going to play the outro now.